Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ́jà.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisa Ibrahimi, aka Jagun Shango, and we are back for another episode of the African Spirituality Experience live. And with that, family, I want to give a good shout out to the tribe, shout out to all the Patreon members, shout out to the new Patreon members, shout out to the Patreon members who left and came back, shout out to the ones who left and they might come back, they might not, but hey, I still got nothing but love for all y'all. And nothing but love for the new subscribers to the channel. Nothing but love for everybody who helped Ashe become what it is, man. I definitely look forward to tonight's episode, and I definitely give gratitude and thanks to everybody who's been riding with us from day one. And for those who today might be your day one, I give gratitude and thanks. So with that, without further ado, IMG, welcome back, man. Happy 2026 to you. Welcome back to the tribe. How you been?
2026. We know we're still preparing for the real new year that's coming in the spring, so we're getting ready for all of that.
Yeah.
But I've been fantastic. This is a powerful time that we're in right now. I am grateful to be alive, and I'm excited about tonight's session because I've been talking to you guys about Master Vibration 13 and what that is. This has been the work that I've been doing for the last 13 years. And tonight I happen to have somebody on board who has been part of the process and has been so moved by the process that, you know, it just inspired her to do a lot of different things. And I just got to tell you guys just a little bit about this Sadia. I met her, and I met her through when I was doing, I was in Spirited Soul magazine. Shout out to Lori. And so Spirited Soul magazine, I did a feature, and then they had me come out and do an actual event. And so Sadia came to this event, and it was about the Orgone technology, Orgone energy batteries. And she felt one of the, a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the one that she was working with.
And while you show her yours, I'm going to show mine. I didn't tell you the story about mine, but boy, this thing here, it got some real power to it because I wear it for certain situations. And one of the situations is when I go to certain events that I'm rooting for a certain team to win. And I bullshit you, excuse me, I bull drive you not. That's one of my resolutions for this year, is not to cuss someone. But anyway, I bull drive you not that every time I wore it, boy, we got a W. So this thing definitely got some power to it for sure.
Hey, it does have a lot of power. So it was this one. She held it, and the effect that it had on her was really it was really powerful, and it was telling for me of the effects of the work, because this was the first time that I did an actual event. She'd never seen Orgone energy batteries, nothing like that at all. So the experience that she had got us to where we are here now, doing some really powerful work here in the Sacramento area. But without any further ado, I just want her to share her story, and I want it to come out of her mouth. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sadia El Ibraim.
Hi. Wow. You took me down memory lane just by sharing. Like I went back in time and thought of the first connection that occurred when we first met, you know, just like that nudge that you get when it's like, hey, something important is happening here. And Orgone energy batteries. I mean, first of all, I love the way that you had described it to me when we started the workshop, just by explaining the scientific properties behind what is an Orgone energy battery. And I'm gonna let you go back, and because the way you've described that to me, I think it would be incredible for the listeners to just be able to have an idea of the science and the composition of what makes up an Orgone energy battery, and how that information was shielded in history and not given out. And by tapping, you created something that allows all these natural properties that we find within Earth and put nature and godly creations within a realm. And that was created with intent. That was created with so much intentionality. And just by doing that, there's a certain energetic frequency that is set into that Orgone energy battery. It literally has memory and it crystallizes that in its space. And the crystallization of an Orgone energy battery has allowed me to tap into an energetic realm. It's an energy transfer. You know, it's like the effect of grounding, but on a much more personalized level, because it's poof. It just has so much components to it. And it took me to a time where a lot of it was a journey. It was going back and opening Pandora's box. And we were gathered with 8 women in the space, and everyone was holding an Orgone energy battery, and everyone was just having, like, as they were learning from what SEG13 was sharing. And for me, the whole room just muted itself. There was nothing happening in that moment, but the energy that I was feeling with the Orgone. And it was just so, it was unusual. It was an experience. And I just allowed that to, like, oh, how does that feel in my body? Like, this has such a easy flowing feel to it. Almost like the feeling you feel when you feel water running through your body, but this feels more like an internal experience. And as I'm tapped into that energy, you ask a question in regards to, like, and to the past, to my past. It triggered my past. You're like, I want to know who in the circle has experienced sexual abuse. And that was the one thing I heard from all that you had spoken about prior. And I see, if not every woman raise their hand. And in that moment, just such an empowering experience happened, where it was just that stagnation, that Pandora's box finally opened, and it was alchemized and transformed into something extremely empowering, extremely raw, where it felt like, whoa. Can you fathom that the traumas that you carried in childhood were actually there to give you the gifts you carry? Can you fathom that what you thought you were a victim of was only there in order to give you the empathy and the awareness to connect with those that need the healing because of whatever experiences they might have gone through? So to have an activation like that, based on your intentionality, based on the energy you put in your work. And at this point, I don't know that you are tapped into all kinds of sacral sexual energy healing. I just know the experience I've had with this Orgone and this one question that you asked, and just all the room responding to that, and for it to be like a revelation to me. And and it was incredibly, incredibly empowering. And with that, I would love for you to just give an insight of what is Orgone energy battery for those who might be listening who have no idea.
Okay. For those who have no idea of what it is, an Orgone energy battery is crystals, metals, and resin. And when you put the resin with the crystals and the metals, the resin squeezes the energy out of the metals and the crystals, and it creates a scalar wave. A scalar wave is a multidimensional energy that moves faster than the speed of light. And this is ancient technology. So this is my version of this kind of energy. But this has been passed down to me specifically from my ancestors in Egypt, who taught me about how this technology was used to mummify the bodies, as well as to the protect the journey, the soul's journey, because it's metaphysical, it's scalar technology. So this technology allows you to make a deeper connection with yourself, with your ancestors, with spirit guides. And it's so important that this is coming out now and that it's happening in this way, because what happened to Sadia was something that usually when people go with any kind of trauma and they go to a therapist or whatever, it takes weeks for you to process, for you to, sometimes they give you medication to deal with some of the things that you brought up, you know. But when you are in nature, right, and you're using nature for your healing, it's going to protect you. And this particular kind of energy, what it does, it helps it so that you're able to go into the shadow self without losing your mind. So it was something that I didn't really like to talk about in that way, because you get into a world where people that know crystals and know this and know that, and so they have this idea of it. But when you come to people that have no idea of what it is and have the experience that she had, that's what made everything click. And that's what brings us here to this conversation about self-healing and how important it is right now in this time where we're in this war, right? A war for your soul. So they're putting everything on TikTok. They putting everything on Facebook, social media, anything that's going to capture your attention and your energy. And if you are not grounded, if you are not solid on who you are, it's going to be a rough time with all of the distractions that are happening in the world. So one of the really powerful things that happened about this, I'm going to tell you something about Sadia and her self journey. She's here from Morocco. Okay. And so she's coming to a whole new system of being. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it back to her in this journey that she came from Morocco with $75. And now she's a boss.
Oh, I mean, Orisha Bemi, we were speaking about this prior to connecting, and how our journeys carry similar wavelengths in the terms of I was running my catering and event management company for 6 years, and then COVID stopped it all. And I was doing this while I was in Morocco. That project was like my baby. Like, I put so much heart, intention, and creation in it. And I was able to build experiences and events that alter people's life, like weddings and baby showers and just these exciting moments, and be in that presence of these joyful energies. And then I saw that be taken away bit by bit as we became complacent and allowed this narrative of COVID to step in and allow us just allowing fear to create the separation, because we need to protect ourselves narrative, right? And it's just like, okay, well, let's be complacent. Let's see how far we can take it. And that was very difficult for me to process because I was seeing right through it. But nevertheless, it still impacted me. Nevertheless, it still made me lose everything I had. And that's what I thought in the time. I thought it made me lost everything I had. And then as I came to the realization that what I have can never be lost, through the process of being able to tell myself, all right, well, I've been in Morocco. I was born in the US. I never got to live in the US after. I was born in Miami. I never got to live there after leaving as an 8-year-old. And I lived in different places, but I had never went back to the US to try living here. And I'm like, okay, well, my company's gone. Let's go figure out what it's like in the US. And with $75 in my pocket. And the first city I went to was New York. And I don't know why I thought that was
So she really had $1 in her pocket in New York.
I was like, and I'm like, let's see if this American dream is still a thing. Prior to having even moved to New York, I was working on a little side hustle, a little Etsy store where I was creating all kinds of digital products and planners and manifestation journals and bunch of just like, you know, products that people enjoyed buying for some reason, because in less than 2 months and a half, it generated $7,500. But New York was still not possible with the rate I was escalating at, because you have no history. I don't have enough credit score. So I needed some level of anchoring. So the anchoring, somehow the way the divine intelligently works, made it that I ended up in Sacramento, out of all places. And it has been such a gift to be in this space, in this moment, especially with everything going on in the world, because it just created the awareness of what we can generate for ourselves when we really set the right energetic frequency, when we're setting the right intentions, when we understand that what we aspire to create, when your calling is so clear, that I wanted to go back to those joyful moments where I created events and experiences for people and they experienced heightened spaces of pure bliss because they're anchored in family and love and beauty. And I'm like, I want that to be what I can just generate in my life. I want those high emotional experiences. And that's actually leads to the creation of A Future We Remember, and the official launching of the work that Maddie, Lori, and I have been working on. Lori, the editor and founder of Spirited Soul magazine, and Spirited Soul, yeah. And it's just, we're having our first event on Sunday, which we're extremely excited about, because it's just it's like, let's collectively ask each other, what's a future we remember? What does that look like? I know that a future I remember is one of harmony, one of co-creation, of collaboration, of being in a space where we understand that the only solution for humanity is through unity, when we connect to oneness. So with that, Maddie has been played an incredible part in triggering this seed to emerge, because we all come with seeds, we all have our gifts, we all have things to offer, and it's now time to remember, what does that seed, what does the DNA we carry tell in regards to what we came here to offer and what our calling is.
That's it.
Yes, sir. So, look, I done wrote damn near whole ebook while y'all was chopping it up, because I take notes. So, so I got a lot of questions. But before we get into the questions, if y'all don't mind, as I was listening to the download, all I could hear was Earth, Wind, and Fire in my mind. Do you remember the very first time, September 8th? That's all I heard, because I love the title of the movement. I love that, man. I really do. And then it brought me back to a quote I remember I used to always say in my mind. And it's something that tonight I want to start doing something different on the show, because I want to challenge the tribe and challenge the people, who are participating, to kind of like really engage in a different level in regards to like mental download and like just the whole mental reciprocity exchange. So before I get into my questions, if y'all don't mind, SEG, can you kind of break down what a scalar wave is? Because I know that it's a very powerful force, or I should say source. Can you kind of break that down for the people? And then before we go into all the other questions, if you don't mind, please.
A scalar wave is something that they can't really even measure it, really. It's measured by the effects of afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So this scalar technology is something that is like that. Scalar technology is what's happening when you see somebody and you get that feeling. That's a scalar wave. You know, and so it's something that it has an effect, but you take it to science, and they're gonna study Tesla is gonna give you a really good idea. He gives a great explanation for what it is, but what Orgone is really producing Orgone, orgasmic energy, is life force, is Ache, is prana. And so this energy, you know, the power of Ache. And so it
Yeah.
is abracadabra. That's the scalar kind of energy, because you speak it and the power of who it's coming from, that's going to go direct and it's going to hit right on target. So that's the energy that is. And okay, so your belief system doesn't really have any effect on the Orgone technology because it's going to do what it does. However, if you have knowledge about scalar technology, if you have knowledge about crystals, that knowledge that you have is going to enforce the belief and the energy. And so it's going to amplify whatever intention it is that you have. And it's something really important about these things and why we're having this connection now, because what's happening now is happening really, really fast.
Oh yeah.
When you connect to this kind of energy, you know what it is for yourself, because there's a lot of information going out there. People that believe this, people that believe that,
Yep.
people that are going to give you their interpretation of whatever. And so Orgone technology does, it keeps it authentic so that you know what is right for you. You're not going to get lost in the sauce on other people's stuff. And here's the beautiful part, is just because we have a different mindset or different things, it doesn't mean we cannot collaborate. We can
Right.
still do things together, even if I have a completely different, perception of how I view life than you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's real. I love it because look, I'm gonna give me a shameless plug, but in my children's book Starseeds, right? One of the main characters, his name was Takyan. And so Takyan was a teacher. And the word Takyan means the ability to travel faster than the speed of light. Right. So, and the whole theory about the book was like for the children and the youth to be able to use their mind as their superpower. And so with Takyan being the teacher, he was able to send out kind of like scalar waves, you know what I'm saying, like lightning bolts of intelligence or information, et cetera, by, you know what I'm saying, the ability of the travel by thought. And thought travels way faster than the speed of light. So I like, that's dope, you know, when you started speaking about scalars, because it brought me back to Starseeds. But that was a powerful introduction. And there's so many different ways and places that I could go with it. But because of the sake of time, I know we got limited. I want to kind of keep it short and concise. But Sadia, when you said, well, I should say when SEG said you came to America with $75, and then you was like, when you moved to New York, you was able to create a product and service, or products and services, or more so to products, to where people was able to kind of invest to your products, and you were able to generate $7,500. I did the math real quick. You was able to 100x what you got here from. I mean, with, you know what I'm saying, to go from $75 to 75, that's unheard of. 100x. For those who are in the business, like,
I love
that's
that
deep.
you say that, because I spoke that into existence. And I remember being in the airport, and the thing, they weren't even, I had 75 euros that I haven't even converted to dollars. And I remember just keeping those euros in my pocket and thinking to myself, you're going to multiply 100 times. Like, this is going to multiply 100 times. And it goes back to the abracadabra. Like, when we truly step into a vibrational frequency where there is no doubt in my mind of that which I can allow into my life to show up the way it's meant to show up, and I just fully surrender. I surrender, and I have no expectations of how it's going to show up. I set the intention, I do the work, because I want it in my mind. I want it to make sense. So the Etsy store hadn't generated any income a couple days while and also it's important to point out, I did have a friend, a very close friend of me, my childhood best friend, shout out to Nuno if ever she sees this, she was still present in that reality. So I also didn't necessarily like just put myself out there, okay, let's figure out how $75 is, because that would be, you know, further than my reality would be able to accept in that moment. You know, that would be much of a threshold that I would need to work into further enhancing the definitions, because I do believe that everything that we see in the exterior is a mere reflection of that which we carry internally. Everything we're looking around us is literally a field of information. That field of information is reflected back to us in regards, like we create that based on the definitions and the limitations we have within our own consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening now with a more expanded awareness is that we start to understand that, I've been very passionate about quantum physics. I've spent over 3 hours just really diving deep into understanding quantum physics. And there's no understanding quantum physics. And that's the beauty of it, because everything becomes fully relative, where it's just like, okay, how do I use this information to serve me in my life in a way where I can look at something and be like, 100 times more, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I surrender and let it go. And it shows up.
Yeah.
And so these healing experiences, this conversation, all of these are manifestations of where we're at, energetically speaking.
Yeah. No, that's powerful. And it's funny because I was talking to IMG about one of the next call, that private call that I'm doing in the Patreon community, is about the Mind movie. And the Mind movie is kind of like bringing, I guess it would be the equivalent of a vision board, having a baby with, I guess, like a motivational video, you know what I'm saying, like from Les Brown, or, from one of the greats, Eric Thomas, whoever you want to name. But it's like, I learned that from Dr. Joe Dispenza in the book Becoming Superhuman, and it's a very powerful thing. Yeah,
I was reading that book on my flight back. That was a
very powerful book, man. So about the Mind movie, and it's like, but what's dope about that is, since the last time I've been on this doggone channel, which was like almost a week and a half, 2 weeks, I was able to do the same thing. Like, I was able to literally manifest 2 very intricate pieces that I need for another venture that I'm working on. And I'm talking about, it was from the sheer desire of, this is going to happen because I said it's going to happen, and I know it's going to happen because I already said it's going to happen, so it already happened. So I'm just waiting for it to actually manifest, for me to tangibly be able to grab onto it, hold it, and do what I need to do with it. And it's like, that's a very, very, very powerful, way that we can kind of create anything out of, what would seem to be thin air, but it's really not. Because if you just think about our experience as beings, spiritual beings having a human experience, right? We can only see a certain level of, the presence of whatever's in the world with our eyes, to a very small, minute, ability. But if you just think about what we can see in the physical world, and then imagine what is unseen in the spiritual world, it's not even close. Not even close. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so now we really think about it, before we got into these bodies, these little, temporary, whatever you want to call it, we came from somewhere, right? And then when we leave these bodies, we don't die. We go back to from which we came. So I look at it like, that's the universe. Once we tap into really believing and knowing that we can co-create as the children of Creator, like, there's no limit to what we can create. And so it's like, it's a very powerful testimonial that you're sharing, because I can relate to it, because literally since the last time I did a live, like, I was able to manifest 2 very, very intricate things that I needed, to take place for another venture that I'm working on. So it's like, that's powerful. And I felt like, with your story, the one that I seen from SEG, like before we came on the air, that I shared with you, is like, I could relate to that, because that was the second time I had an opportunity to take my business to a very high level, and it kind of was just like ripped away from me. The first time happened in the real estate industry, right before the bang in 07, or the boom in 07. I dived into real estate with buying property, but then the property I was up 100K in equity in got ripped away from me, because everything went upside down. So I'm like, damn. So when COVID happened, I'm like, you ain't gonna keep just kind of snatching, dreams of prosperity away from me. But that's life. And so I love and respect how you were able to take those lemons to make some sweet lemonade, and you didn't let that stop you. So there's a lot of people who are listening now who don't believe they have a chance to win. They don't believe that they were dealt the cards that they could win with. So
that belief's going to make them lose, because that's what you're carrying. It's the belief. When you understand that beliefs, whether we're aware or unaware of it, but beliefs, at the end of the day, we can reach a point where our beliefs become a choice. Am I going to choose to carry on a belief that does not serve me? Because that's not a belief, that's a virus. There's no reason for that to be there, because I believe in the potential we've been given. I believe in the gifts that we've been given. I believe that God's Spirit, like, we carry that creative force within us. We're breathing it. Our heart beats without having to think. So why would we ever think that there's nothing? And this is where the indoctrination happens, actually. This is what happens. When this energetic frequency is going to elevate, we're going to put out systems, narratives, news, media, whatever that's going to limit you and make you feel like you might just be a victim. Like you might just be a victim. And what's absolutely mind-blowing is that like this amnesia where we've allowed ourselves to believe that we might just be victims and just like flukes, just like randomly here that don't necessarily serve any greater purpose. But how limiting. Why would I choose to believe that? It does not serve. So when we come to the realization that we have the ability of reprogramming ourselves, then
You know, it's something really important to point out that you both said. And that's that when you wanted to alchemize something, you wanted to make something happen, you had intention and action.
yeah.
Because in this spiritual world, there's a lot of people that they're like, okay, nothing, you know, I'm just going to do this all day and everything I want to. And it's like
I moved to a whole different country not knowing anyone. Like I had to put myself in a different environment. I had to put myself around different people in order to really not allow anything that was defining who I was in my past to catch on to me and be like, all right. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I left New York, because it was like I came to this experience with a friend, but now I wanted to be me and truly me, where I want to see what I'm capable of getting if I were to put myself anywhere. And it's funny enough, because I remember as I was on the JFK airport, worst, like I've been to a lot of airports. There's none that have traumatized me as much as JFK. It was like crazy. And my flight was canceled. There was a storm. It was horrible. And I was just like having that, like, that victim, a pity party for myself. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm like at the most victimized state. And I remember just thinking to myself, okay, I should probably just journal about it. And I was thinking, well, what if I use one of the products I'm selling and I just journal about what I'm feeling? And I remember just being there and I write to myself, I feel alone. And the moment I write that just that nudge again, that universal nudge, it's like, read that again. I feel alone. It's like, read that again. I feel alone. It's like, no, again. And then I finally read it and I see that I've like left a space between the L and the O. And I'm like, I feel all one. Just like shivers everywhere and reconnecting to what it's like to be in oneness, to be whole in the moment, to be in awareness of the present, to be in awareness of breath, of life itself, and to just give grace and gratitude to the moment that I get to be in. That whether the JFK airport is the most traumatizing or not, what a time to even be able to conceive that I get to travel and that I get to be in this space. And this is that I have the infrastructure that allows me to be on a plane. That's it. Just count the small blessings, the small gratitudes. And as you do that, you're changing your frequency. You're changing the way you manifest. You're changing to a higher level of alignment where now it's like, oh, okay, pity party is over. Let's go back to creating magic. And here we are.
Yeah.
And we are one.
You against yourself. It's always that little voice. I know that we don't have a lot of time. I definitely want to talk about the importance of why we are a future we remember is happening. So Sadia, among looking at all, I mean, we connect with a lot of people here in the area, and there is a lot of spiritual movement that's happening in Sacramento. And this was the old cow town. Wasn't nothing going on here before, but now there's just a whole lot of movement. And it just reminds me, because I didn't want to come back to Sacramento, but I'm here, and now I recognize and I understand why, I overstand why I'm here. And so when we started getting together, Sadia was just inspired by what Lori and I were doing in terms of this work with healing, right? And the effect it had on her. And she's like, why not? I want to support that. And I want to support other events, other people that are doing this kind of work that are going to help people with their self-healing, with their ideas, with, you know, what it is that they want to create for this new world that is being created, Ache.
Yeah.
And so this is how we are a future we remember. It's so funny. It's like, this is how fast this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Because this is in less than 6 months. It just went like boom. And here we go. Now we're having our first event on Sunday, and it's just the beginning. And so all of this is really about people finding who they are, your grounding, find what your gifts are, connect with your infinionaire. And when you are ready, there's going to be a space for you available to come and say, look at what I got.
Yeah.
Who in the community, who in this community, it's not just Sacramento, right? Because here we
Yeah.
are on this network. So it's all of us, right?
Yeah.
And who of us can assist me in this venture that I have going? And not and we're not talking about just you know, okey doke business of, oh, okay, yeah, I want to do that. Yes. And then word of mouth. No, it's like serious business with
Yeah.
people who are very serious about creating a completely new foundation for themselves. Sovereignty, freedom. That's where we're headed. That's what
Fact.
this is about.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, it's deep, man. And I love it because I mean everything that both of y'all are saying resonates with me on so many different levels because Ashe is literally a product of the same thing. Like I said it, I don't know how many times I wasn't ready to start this channel. I felt like because it's my third podcast, I wanted to have 6 to 9 months worth of content already recorded and ready to go. But the Ancestors was like, man, I don't give a damn about what you talking about. You're gonna start it now, and that's what it is. But I say all that to say we ain't even 2 years old yet. I had no idea that the movement that it became would happen the way it happened because first of all I didn't know how that was going to happen, but it wasn't for me to try to figure out. That's when you got to kind of sit back and let spirit lead and let the universe do what the universe do, and you just be obedient. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier about that small voice and that you versus you mentality. That's a real thing, and that's something that I can't wait to tap into deeper, you know, with us, and then also with shout out to OJ Yemi because I spoke to her the other day and we had a deep, really deep conversation about trauma and about healing from trauma. And so many of us deal with trauma to where I feel like we subconsciously or unconsciously give that lower vibrational self authority or power over us to let it dictate whatever we're going to do with our subconscious and our conscious self. And it's like, nah, we can't do that because if we all allowed ourselves to fall victim with that victim mentality, you're not seeing me here, you're not seeing Sadia here, you're not seeing you here because all of us have been through some shit. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like, okay, you better be ready to give it all you got because I'm going to give it everything. And you got me messed up if you think I'm not going to be here to fight 10 toes down every single day, 24/7, 365, 366 on a leap year because that's just what I'm made of. But it's at the same time, we all could do that. It's just that I feel like we allow the environment or we allow the things that are programming us, you know what I'm saying, to dictate how we move with how we respond to adversity. And I feel like nobody who's ever made any significant impact in the world didn't go through adversity. I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? We all have to go through it. So it's a matter of what are we going to do with it when we go through it. You know what I'm saying? It's like y'all have both made very significant transformations that have been impactful for other people. And you're still you're still on the path of doing even more so. And I'm going to say this too, because I love to pop off for other people. I ain't going to brag too much on myself, but I'm going to talk that shit for people who I know deserve it. And it's like, y'all are minimizing what y'all are doing because what y'all are doing is huge. Y'all got something that is the equivalent of a spiritual Shark Tank going on with this event that y'all are doing with this movement. So let's get a little bit deeper into that with the little bit of time we got left because I'm a pop them collars, man. Like y'all doing some big things. So I'm proud to be a part of, you know, just being able to announce it. You know what I mean? Because y'all doing something big.
I love that. I saw one of the comments that one of the viewers is in Sacramento area. And I love that synchronicity. I feel like, thank you for being an affirmation, Jay McDonald, 5029. And I think that these are just moments where we're coming back to remembering what it's like when we were more united, when we worked together, when we co-created, when children weren't just handed off to, you know, in schools to systems that don't serve them, how we collaborate around creative energy through, you know, hand labor, especially now with the advancements of technology and AI creating automation, what we're seeing in the tech realm, like that can be very empowering if we choose it to be, by allowing it to, okay, well, now we don't have to be behind screens all the time. Now we can go and meet someone in person and learn a new skill and be in an environment that is helping us all co-create and learn from each other, dance, have events where we're learning about different journeys, about different stories, about entrepreneurship, about creating yourself, and understanding that the only gap between your dreams and your reality is the beliefs that need to be changed in regards to who you are. And we want to accompany people through this process. We want to be just, I mean, if it wasn't for the people I was able to connect with and the people that supported me and the help I was able to receive, I mean, nothing, there's this Moroccan expression that says one hand does not applaud. And I love that, because everything needs to be in co-creation. Life does not happen alone. And A Future We Remember just reminds us that how beautiful it is when we choose to do life together and not just be separated by these different narratives and systems. Segregation is up here. Now is the time to choose more integration and to be in that intent and to be in that energetic frequency. So to whoever's in Sacramento, I mean, tune in to us. We'll share information about where the event is. And it would be beautiful to see people from the Ache channel tune into A Future We Remember and see how something like a moment like this creates co-creation. By being in this vibrational intent, there is no space. It's all energetic frequency. And when, I love seeing the magic happen. It's beautiful.
No, that's powerful. Shout out to Wale. Real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but this was a dope comment, man. He said the easiest and quickest method to have everything you want is to simply want everything you have. I love that. Because to me, it speaks to humility, just being grateful for what we do have and not, looking at what we don't have. And that's how I always look at life. Like, even when shit get rough, I'm like, I'm alive, I could breathe, something healthy. It's everything that matters to me, I have it. So all the other stuff, I could figure that out. You know what I mean? So I love that comment. But my bad. Go ahead. I just wanted to share that real quick. I thought that was dope.
I just wanted to share. It's a crazy world out there. So today, Spirit was saying, do you know what you're doing? And I was like, yeah. Do you really know what you're doing? And I was like, okay, what am I doing? And they was like, you are creating A Future We Remember is creating. You know how people will go to YouTube and they find how to do things? Well, we're doing that, but in real life.
Yes.
So you want to learn music, you want to learn dance, you want to learn acting, whatever, you're going to be able to find those seasoned people, because we're not playing around. There's so many people that are digging in their tool belts, that are leaving that corporate system, and they're saying, hold up, I used to do this and I've mastered it. And now these people are ready to pay it forward, because that's what we're all for, that service. So to give you guys a better idea, that's exactly what we're doing. We're bringing that world into eyeball to eyeball, and meet your professors, your masters, the people that know how to do the work. So I'm really excited about coming, and I will be happy to give the number for Master Vibration if you want to come and you're in Sacramento. 818-233-5776. Send me a text and just say Afwar, and then I'll know that you want to come.
How you spell that?
AFWR, right?
Orisa, those are the acronyms of A Future We Remember. So she just shortened it and called it Afwar.
That's dope. I mean, look,
that's so cool.
I love it, man. Look, that's what Ashe is. Ashe is, look, it's ambidextrous. It was just African spiritual experience, but as my little break kind of downloaded to me, it's also ancestral spirituality experience. So it goes both ways, So it's like I love it. Acronyms are dope. So I love that.
You know what's beautiful? I'm so grateful for the synchronicity of this. I was saying Ache in my head earlier before this conversation even happened, and this is just like instant manifestation for me.
Yeah.
And I had translated in my head too, and that's something I always say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that in my religion means the divine, the almighty. In Islam, that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most high, the most merciful. And being able to have created those acronyms in my mind and for it to be reflected back to me as in what they represented was like, do you realize that the vibrational alignment of that is it's that one creation, that one essence? There's and not to be separated from the definitions and words, because as spirits, we're limited by words. Our words are so limited.
Yeah.
But as long as we show up because when we say it, like, people might forget the name, but they'll never forget the way they felt. They'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So when we focus on the feeling, and we understand that the state of being is literally what materializes, then circumstances don't matter.
Yep.
And yeah, so thank you for this. And what's beautiful, I saw another comment, and it's the same person that mentioned she's from Sacramento. And we had this conversation, Mari and I, this morning, and I was like, Mari, do you think I should talk about the future, the real future, like eventually how the vision eventually of how we want to get land and have like an ecosystem where we learn to cultivate our own food and we learn how to live in co-creation in the space of like, okay, because now we're depending so much on systems that are collapsing and that are not serving us. And then I see that this same lady who said she's from Sacramento also said, I grow food. And I was like, of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Like the synchronicity that we be experiencing for me is just ache, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. We're just getting started. That's what's so beautiful about this experience, man. Like, for real, I if you gave me the opportunity to draw it up with, my imagination and a pencil and pen and the pad, I would never be able to draw what this experience has grown into organically. Like, I mean, never. I wouldn't be able to, because it just happens so organically. And there's been so many aha moments that's been in unison and synchronicity. And it's amazing, you know what I mean? So, like, I look at it like it's just that's the creator doing what the creator do. And I feel like how can I say, the world's a stage, we all just got to play our part. So long as we play our part, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna see the creator do what the creator do on the highest and most grandest scale.
One of the things that we're going to be doing in AFAR is, again, like I was talking about, freedom and sovereignty. It's about getting people to understand, regardless of whether you married to somebody or whatever, you have to have self-sovereignty. You have to have authority over yourself and know what that means. And so that is what we're doing. That's what we're building. Infinionaire cities is what we're talking about. And all things are possible. And so this is that time, whatever you even thought of, whatever you could imagine is bigger than that. It's big.
Yeah. No, that's a real thing. Listen, so we got about a good 10 more minutes. Let me ask y'all this, because this is something that I wanted to kind of bring up earlier. Hopefully I can get y'all to kind of chime in with us, Tribe. But if today was your last day, right, what would you want most to be remembered for? And the reason why I asked that question is because earlier when y'all was doing the intro and the dialogue, all I could hear was that song from the Locks, 24 Hours to Live. I gotta live to my last day, getting money in the fast way. So anywho, I thought, like, it just downloaded into my mind, but that's something that is a real thing to me. And I just had a conversation with somebody the other day about like how we are impacting other people, because there's a quote that I heard, I think it's Les Brown again, but I love the quote. It's like, what we do for ourselves, when we transition, we take that with us, but what we do for others, it remains here forever. Right? So that's my question to y'all, and Tribe, I would love if y'all chimed in too. If today was the last day, what would you want, your legacy to be remembered for? Or at least what would you, anticipate working on from today, for your legacy to be remembered as?
Thank you so much for asking that question. And I feel like within the question, you carried the answer. And I say this often, like when I'm asked what my purpose is, it answers also the question of what do I want to be remembered as? I want to be a being of service, because that is the essence of who I am. I am a being of service. I'm here for the seeing what humanity can be in its purest, most connected form. And in order for me to be able to see that, it's important for me to be able to carry that. So anyone that comes my way, like the intention behind the future we remember is to be of service, to give to others, because that's truly where we feel the most bliss. That's, for me, I know, is where I feel selfishly being of service is the most fulfilling feeling ever. So yeah.
I say. What about you, Miss?
What would I would want people to remember what is it? How I want them to remember me, what I want them to remember about me.
Yeah, if today was your last day, what would you want your legacy to be? Like, what would you want people to remember the most about you, on your stomping grounds on this planet while you were here?
That there's power in knowing who you are, and that you're not alone.
I see. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Try it. What y'all got, man? Can I see some of y'all responses? So yeah, that's deep. So another thing I had too, when I was taking my notes is one of my favorite videos that I watch on YouTube, and I probably watched the video like thousands of times. I'm not exaggerating. I even incorporated it into several of my speeches with the children and with adults. But it's a video with Mike Tyson and Customato. And Customato was his trainer who kind of adopted him, when he first got into boxing. And I remember in that video, Cuss goes to Mike and he says, "What's the difference between a coward and a hero?" And then Mike was like, "I don't know." So he was like, "The difference is the difference between the coward and the hero is what the coward doesn't do versus what the hero does do. That's the difference between the coward and the hero." So I'll ask y'all this, because I feel like both of y'all have been into, well, I should say we all have been in moments to where I don't feel like none of us were cowards, but I do feel like the moment was very adverse and it was a very tough challenge that we had to go through. And I feel like we all punched our way out of it by becoming heroes. So if you could share with me, like, where did that fire, that drive, that passion, that inspiration, like, where did that tenacity, all the things that it takes for someone who gets knocked down to get back up and keep swinging at the blows of life, like, where did that come from for both of y'all?
Maddie?
For me, it came from before I came here in this flesh suit. It has been in me and with me for all of the hundreds and millions of lives that I've had. And so it came this lifetime to show and prove.
I love that. I'll take it back to where we originally started. And just like that, the traumas, all the traumas I had to go through, all the times where I thought I'm seeing death straight in the eyes, two particular times, one in childhood and one as in my early 20s, when I was diagnosed with an illness that I thought was going to kill me. And I to then be in front of death and question who, like, why, first of all, because you put yourself in the state of complete victimization and you forget your light and you just don't understand. I think that was the most challenging aspect. And I feel like it's when you truly recognize darkness and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you just, there was a shift. There was an absolute shift when I was given the opportunity of a tomorrow. And I kept going with the gift of tomorrow, the gift of tomorrow. And all right, here we are, fully healed, fully recovered. And that changes you forever. That leaves its imprint in a very powerful way.
I say something real quick about my answer that I wanted to expand on just a little bit.
Yeah.
The reason why I said before I even got here, because from the moment that I came out of my mother's womb, it was a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
from the moment,
Yeah.
okay? And so it's the thing that my soul remembered who I was before I did. And so my soul didn't allow me to give up,
Mm.
because trust and believe, there were things, and continue to this day, things continue to see, who are you? Are
Mm.
you gonna break today?
Yeah.
Is today the day you're gonna break?
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for me to say this now, because I know that I've been on the Ashe network since October. I think was my first experience here,
Mm-hmm.
and that experience, which was the same time that I met Sadia. So
Mm.
this was something that, as soon as you start doing the right moves for yourself, things start just flowing for you in a way that all you do is show up every gratitude.
Yeah.
I love
Because
Yeah.
my life has transformed. Those days when you're like, what in the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then
Yeah.
it's like, you do that and you feel that, but if you know that you got to do the work immediately becomes to what is good. Oh, I'm breathing, I can move, you know what I'm saying, I can
Yeah.
hear my body, I can feel it, I have no pain. And so you start showing gratitude for all of the things that are here right now, and the expansion of what you could receive is infinite.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's powerful. And it's so funny because I remember we were talking the other day and I was sharing some stories about how, over the last few weeks I've been working on, this other project and so many other things should have been done and accomplished and, on the checklist checked off by now. And just a lot of stuff was coming up and just kind of being like roadblocks and potholes. And so it's so funny how spirit works, because in the process of all that happening, I remember reading a message about Orgone, right? Orgone is the deity from the Orisa pantheon, who is the god of iron, the god of war. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a true warrior, and like he kills shit to be, like that's just what he does. But just like a Gemini, there's another side of Orgone. Orgone is also a healer. He's also a surgeon. Like he actually forged the tools in order to, to be able to conduct surgery. So it takes a lot more for us, or I should say for myself, and for probably men who are wired or women who are wired like me, to not cave somebody's face in and like resort to like really fucking some shit up and knocking everything over. It takes a lot more energy and a lot more power and a lot more focus and discipline to be able to choose to not choose violence and all to be able to sustain the power of peace and the power of serenity within, and to choose to heal. And I really been through a lot of tests in the last few weeks, because the old me wouldn't have passed those tests. The old me would have got real physical. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I give thanks and gratitude for the growth, in the process of being able to tap into a different level of that energy to make it be transformed or transmuted or alchemized from energy of destruction into an energy of construction. And so I give gratitude and thanks, just for how everything kind of unfolded tonight, because I definitely feel like we all, transmuted energy that we have dealt with or been faced with that was a destructive energy, but we've been able to transmute it into a constructive energy. And now we're seeing the fruits of those labors manifest with what you got going on Sunday. So in closing, I know we're running close on time. Do y'all want to plug, everything that you got going on for Sunday or anything else before we get out of here?
I just wanted to point out the comment keeps coming at me of, hey, energy goddess, I used to buy Orgonite from you, and I just think that's just more synchronistic. For the event
Thank you.
Sunday, if I could just share something really quick to leave it off with what the intention is of a future we remember. And this is just from a place, it's inspiration. It's nothing that, I mean, the first event in itself is just the fact that I would be able to tell myself, hey, you know what? At least you did it. At least you attempted. It was a crazy vision. It was something. And that's where you have to also work with your own language, where it's just like, is it really a crazy vision, or is it a remarkable one? Because you aspire to do something for everyone. So the short term of the vision is that it just begins with very few people, and it's just like, okay, we have an idea. We all collectively have an idea, but we don't have what it takes to say it out loud. Of what most people carry such remarkable gifts. And if only they were given the support and the space in order to just show them and reflect back to them that you carry this because it's your calling. Don't let it be, don't let the world stop you from being who you're meant to be in all your authenticity. Just tap into it and just be a reminder of that. Be a reminder of what it's like to know thyself and to come out of it healed, to come of it expansive, and allow it to impact those around you. Because if we truly want to change, then the only change happens within first before we can experience it all collectively on an external level. How beautiful it is when we all come together to show up as the highest versions of ourselves and we collectively do the work. And it's a journey. And God knows, of course, it has to be a journey. It has to be its challenges. It's a hero's journey. No one wants it all at once at the same time. Like, it has to be this ongoing flow of remembrance. So it's not utopia, it's devotion. It's this, I'm devoted to show up as a better version of myself. I aspire to be, when I look into the future, I see this ideal version of me, and every day I do just one thing that's going to get me closer to that reality. And so a future we remember on Sunday in Airy Place in Sacramento. Look it up. Airy is spelled ARY and place, from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be recorded, but we still don't know whether we're going to be publishing it out just yet because it's more of an intimate gathering. But the intention of it is to become a familiar, to become a network, and to become a support to one another.
Sure.
I want to say, sweet baby Ray, if today was my last day, I would like to be remembered for implementing astrology into school systems using AI. AI increases spirituality from astrology significantly. Ache, I agree. I think it's great. And so it is. That will happen. I am, for the first time in 13 years, I am teaching how to create Orgone energy batteries. So if you are interested in learning from me, you can send a text and I will let you know. It's going to be in February, and I'm only taking 12 people at a time. And so, yes, if you want to get in, go ahead, and that same number, 818-233-5776. That's the number. And just put that you want the Orgone energy battery workshop. And thank you so much, those of you that already been hitting me up. I see you for Sunday. I'm going to make sure and connect with you right after the podcast.
Ashe. And you said it was from 5:30 to 8:30 or 5:30 to 8 p.m.?
5:30 to 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay, cool. So now that's dope. And then real quick, before we get out of here, let me share that because Jay McDonald asked, is it Ari Place? And yep, it is Ari Place, Miss J, from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And so with that, man, without further ado, if y'all don't have anything else, I got one last thing I would like to close out with after I make sure that y'all, had the floor and let the people know everything you wanted to let them know and shared everything you wanted to share with them. So if y'all got anything else for them, y'all let me know so we can let them know so we can do this thing.
I'm complete.
Complete? All right. What about you, Miss Sadia?
I'm grateful for this moment. Thank you so much, Orisa Memi, for this experience to be able to share and just the crazy synchronicities, remarkable synchronicities. Jay McDonald, it would be incredible to see you there. I saw that you had left a comment earlier that you're growing a grocery store in your backyard in containers. A future we remember are people that want to come together and help you make this bigger, help you make this greater, so that this grocery store can just expand into all that it's meant to be. It is no coincidence that you showed up, that you are present, and that we're very, very grateful. So thank you so much for your space, Orisa Memi.
Oh, man, it's an honor and a pleasure. I look forward to doing it again. And I can't wait to get it out there to the Sac Town, man, on the west side. We can do that thing in real life because that's what I prefer anyways. But Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And Tribe, I definitely look forward to getting back into the groove and making this thing happen a lot more often and consistent, making it do what it do. But before, I was able to do that, I had to knock off some things that had to be done. But we're here now. So, that's pretty much done and we're ready to get this thing cracking. But with that, I want to give thanks to both of y'all for sharing the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, overstanding, understanding, and understanding with the tribe tonight. And so I think it was you. I don't know which one of y'all it was. I think it might have been you, Miss Sadia, that spoke about knowing thyself. That's one of my favorite quotes, but also one of my favorite spoken word pieces or proverbs. So because this was a dope conversation and, the whole topic, well, the whole title of the show was supposed to be about, learning to know thyself and unlocking and awakening that, spirit within. So with that, I wanted to leave a proverb that I believe is marked within the chambers of King Tut over in ancient Kemet, also known as ancient Egypt, that speaks about knowing thyself. So with that, I think I've shared this before, but I'm gonna share it again because I felt like it's synchronicity again. So with that, know thyself. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. Teach them. A person who knows not and believes that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. A person who knows and knows not that they know is asleep. Awaken them. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All of these persons reside in you. Know thyself and Ma'at be true. A modern adaptation to an ancient ancestral proverb. So with that, family, I give modern gratitude to all y'all for sharing. Tonight you could have been anywhere in the world, but you was here with us. So I give gratitude and thanks, man. So this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisa Bami. Shout out to I am SEG13 and Miss Sadia for coming and dropping them jewels tonight. And I appreciate all y'all who showed up and showed out, tribe, man. We'll see y'all in the next episode. We out. Peace.
Adios.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors, embrace your